I know, she hates you.
Yes, that's the thing. I never knew, like, I'm like Pavlov, I didn't hear anything to them. I mean, well, just thought, not really him, more like a thought.
Good evening. This is the work session for Northfield City Council. September 26th of 2023. I don't like the echo. This meeting was properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. And in the press of Atlantic City on January 7th of this year. May I have a flag salute led by Mayor Chow, please?
Yes, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Roll call, Mrs. Bucci?
Here.
Mrs. Carfagno?
Here.
Mr. Deweese?
Here.
Mr. Leeds?
Here.
Mr. Notaro?
Here.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Palestina?
Here,
Mr. Chow?
Here.
Mr. President?
thank you. I will start right off in our committee reports. Councilman Leeds,
I have nothing to report this meeting.
thank you. Councilman Deweese,
I have nothing to report.
Councilwoman Lucci.
For Municipal Alliance, I just want to remind everybody that trunk or treat is at Birch Grove Park on October 7th from 5 to 7. Make sure to register. If you're participating, contact Shannon Campbell in the clerk's office. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Smith is not here. Councilwoman Carfagno.
Thank you. Just that cultural committee's meeting on Saturday, the 30th. If anybody wants to attend, they're gonna be talking about the fall flea market, which is happening in November. And, back to school night went well for Mainland Regional. It was highly attended. And the next meeting for the Board of Education is October 16th. That's all.
Thank you. Councilman Notaro.
No report this evening?
Okay. Moving on to the ad hoc committees. We did have some, something sent out regarding the food trucks. Has everyone had a chance to go through those? Review that. I had a couple questions. Just, I guess it's just really housekeeping issues, just whether or not there's like one of the things in there about the it says for prepared food. I mean, what if they have like pre-made things? I guess a lot of those trucks bring stuff pre-made in the definitions. All of them say pre-made or prepared and cooked on the kitchen of the truck. I don't know if that's something we need to get into that kind of detail. It just says on all the definitions, it says foods prepared and cooked in the vehicle. But should it be, or is that not?
So you're saying food that they cook and.
Like if they do it at like a distribution area and then load the truck up and to pre-cook certain items that don't cook on the truck, I guess. I don't know if that's affects anything really, or if we, I don't have anything really.
Kitchen, they can't like.
Yeah.
cook at home and then serve it.
Yeah.
But how do we police that?
You don't.
Yeah.
Right, it says they have to, yeah, and I mean, we do have in there, the Board of Health would have to approve their food items.
I know when Hamilton has their big food truck event, the county sends the Board of Health out there and they check every truck before they let them open to the public.
Does-
And same thing when the school did their spring festival, they had food trucks there. There was a representative from the
Dude.
county Board of Health and went through every vehicle before they let them.
Okay, so it's as, they don't get like a standalone establishment, it gets
Yeah, the county.
an annual Board of Health review. These will get at events they do, I guess they do spot checks.
Every time they set up, they have
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
a health inspection.
Okay, so that was one of my other questions as far as certification, so that would happen. Okay.
I would think.
Perfect.
For,
And
I only know that from visiting both of the events.
And then the only other item in that I was questioning, in the licenses in C3, it says each individual has to be licensed, or would it be the,
So that speaks to background check.
okay,
So.
I
like
did
a
read that,
ice cream truck, Whoever's driving Ken's truck has to have a background, because you're sending your kid up.
okay,
So whoever is gonna be in that truck has to be background checked for the safety of our residents
okay,
to get a permit.
that makes sense. I just clarifying, and then, so then that would be. And that would be the license fee that.
They have to plan for that. They have to plan by letting us back on whoever they think might be worth. And they can't have someone in that vehicle on the day of an event who has not been vetted by the municipality. That's the design of the ordinance. If you want to change that, you can change it.
No. I don't think it's clear in our orders that they need to have. Or it says, well, there's no truck has to be licensed, then you think. And potential worker.
Yeah, no, it says anybody, that's the part I was reading.
Well, I mean, it would be redundant, it's just,
It says that
they
anybody,
would have to figure that out on their own.
the license is non-transferable. And any change in ownership requires immediate submission. Each individual who may be present in the food vendor vehicle while it is operating under an event permit must be licensed in accordance with the provisions of this chapter, so anybody on the truck's gotta be licensed, it says it in the.
Right.
And that's the $100 annual fee, right? And then it's 75 for the other, okay,
Is that per person, is that per employee, $100 per? is it just
yeah,
Blankets, the whole thing, that does checks, so we could potentially have to check 5 or 6 people on that $100.
per truck if they, yeah.
They're gonna have to pay for the background.
Oh, okay.
The $100 is the application fee. So we'll handle the background check the same way we handle background check for citizens. We have to pay themselves. A report comes back to our chief. I never do it. If you've looked at it and said, "Yeah,
So just playing devil's advocate here, what do we do when Jim Smith's food truck hires his 15-year-old daughter and do it on record, you see it?
I don't.
I don't think you can.
Right.
We've done.
Well, would they,
we've
if
done
they
the-
did a background check, wouldn't it,
On the juvenile?
but if they did a background check, would it come up saying they have a juvenile record?
Do we want to say you have to be 18?
I think you would be 18 and
Well, but then wouldn't you have the same problem, then I'm 18,
No, 18 records
18.
public. I mean,
of the juvenile record to come
Yeah.
public?
the juvenile record maintained by the juvenile court, not the state police.
I would say you gotta be 18.
Those records are no longer sealed once you become of age.
Yeah.
The juvenile part is, but the adult. record,
Well, I'm saying they must put that into the same,
Yeah.
it's still sealed, you still wouldn't get them. So as long as they're,
18,
Okay.
you can actually access a CCH. Once from 18.
So I'll amend that to be that the individuals working in the food truck have to be 18 and older. This is not like you.
I don't think we need to do that, because,
Yeah,
because if I'm 17 and I have a juvenile record. And then I turn 18. Now, I haven't done anything yet. The other record's still sealed, I think we're just,
My thinking is if I'm 15 or 17 and I have working papers, I should be able to work.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, good point.
You know, I don't know if the working paper process does any of that, but.
it doesn't, for what you're saying, Councilman Leeds, it doesn't flag that there is a record that exists. When you do it, okay. I don't think we
Yeah,
can, I don't think we can prepare for that.
We're taking that out, right?
Yeah, I don't think we,
Well, we're just not adding. right?
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, so then if everybody's happy with it, then the next thing is that Chris, it has to be put in ordinance form that we can, okay?
Any objections?
No.
Okay. Please do.
We all know who created the forms, Mr. Nazar. Name starts with an M and ends with a Y.
An easy answer or what?
Okay. Anything on, affordable housing, nothing going on? The,
Habitat's updated.
yes,
Mary and I have been speaking with Habitat,
mhm,
looks like we're getting some positive feedback. On those two properties on
Dolphin,
Dolphin,
block 66 and 69.
I mean, generally Habitat's MO is to build side by side. Townhouse type structures. They're proposing 4 on one site, so it would be 8 and 3 on the other site for a total of 14 units. So, and they're small, so it's like the size of a regular house, and we think there's only more. So we're gonna get Nancy and Tiffany involved now,
Mm-hmm.
that we can gain that interest level.
Yep, that's good that they're interested, and obviously the phase one was clear. The other lot is still, I don't know that it's, I mean, I looked at it, it just looks so like such a small, yeah, it would be too narrow a place. It'd be like something in.
I mean, I have a guy who can run down title. I don't know what he would charge us for it, but it's gonna be more than those title searches we did for Dolphin.
Mhm.
They were like 1,000 a piece, I think.
But I don't know that we can do anything with that, with those anyway. To get them off the roll. I mean, the only other thing we could do is if the people that live adjacent would be interested in.
Hey, Mary, does it make sense to ask Habitat if we do own it, whether they can do anything with it?
If it fits what they typically, would develop. However, it's in our affordable housing plan, so I don't think that we should abandon the developability, for lack of a better word. To keep it in the plan, we need to be able to use.
So then we should do the,
You find out how much. It
Yeah.
However, to that end, the next step to Habitat is that we need to have the 2 parcels on Dolphin survey. Could you give me a price for that? And we're gonna charge that to the Affordable Housing Trust. And they do want topography, right, Chris? They want 4 corners and then a couple of random spots in the center.
Spot open. Yeah, so, yeah, just.
Yep. You want it. Thank you.
What was the one?
yeah. It runs actually from.
Lot 121, lot 1, I believe.
Yes. Isn't there
Really
one?
deal?
Mhm. The other one is 6611, lot 11, and 69, lot 1.02.
Only 2 that we need surveyed. The 2 that start with 6.
The 66 and the 69, the 121, we don't need survey. We don't know if it's ours yet. On the new grant opportunities, I know you're still working on yeah. I know we have one on the agenda tonight. Thank you, Mary, for that. A small grant, but every bit helps. And then, again, thank you also for all your help with the sewer grant that we're pursuing through USDA, keeping that rolling and making sure everything was organized and got through. Appreciate that. Anything else? Okay, everyone can please refer to your agenda. Approval of the minutes, Councilwoman Bucci, Councilman Weeds. Resolutions, Councilman DeWeed and Councilman Notaro. Payment of bills, Councilman Leeds and Councilwoman Carfagno. And meeting notices, Councilman Notaro. At this time, we'll open the meeting to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any topic, we ask you to please step forward and state your name for the record and your town of residence.
Tom Boyd, 117 Northfield Avenue. Just clarification, I put my hearing aids in tonight, but I'm still having trouble following. The Habitat for Humanity proposal is for townhouses,
Side by side townhouse structure,
for how many units, Chris?
14 on 2 separate lots.
They're large lot, yeah, they're large lots up at the end of Dolphin.
I'm familiar with the lot. Oh, God bless them. I've never done anything but single family.
Yeah, they did some in Cinnaminson, they were telling us.
Yeah, our local chapter is sort of dissolved, they still have the habitat restore
Gotcha.
clause there, but, as far as the buildings, they haven't done anything in 10 years.
Yeah,
Intermittent, huh?
that's where they did these side by side.
Okay. Well, wait, and see, I hope.
It's nice to see you're sporting the Habitat shirt. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. If anyone, yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Ian Brady. I live at 12 Crossing Drive in Linwood. Retired service member. I currently work at the VA clinic in Northfield. I began living here about 6 years ago. Prior to living here, I came to visit. And one of the first things I did was go with my cousin and our young kids to Birch Grove Park. Absolutely fell in love with the place. That's half the reason I live here right now. So what I'm proposing and hoping is I would like to utilize a little bit more of the park. As big as that park is, there's lots of the aspects that aren't being used. And one of the things I do with the VA is I work with high-risk veterans, suicidal, past suicide attempts, things like that. So I routinely take walks on Mondays. Every Monday I'm in Birch Grove Park with a bunch of veterans, just taking them out there, getting these folks out, combating the isolation, getting them out in the woods and things like that. I can't begin to tell you what it does for them. One of the other things I try to do is to try to engage as much as I can. During certain times of the year, we have a worked out with cornhole craze in Silver Point, taking play cornhole. And I was constantly trying to look at things that are inexpensive and things to do with them. And I remember a long time ago, I used to play disc golf with my kids and some fellow Marines when I was in the service. The closest course that we have is at Stockton. There's one down in Cape May County, and then there is one in Upper Township as well. The park is more than suited to ideally make one of probably the best courses in the state of New Jersey, honestly, with very minimal impact. For those of you that don't really know, it's truthfully meant to be played in the woods or open fields and things like that. The last thing I would ever want to do would be to diminish the beauty of that place or anything like that. I brought some handouts to show some of the local courses and what they look like. And it's simply just clearing out the small brush, the leaves and things like that. And you'd be surprised just how open these things can be.
I just want to, say, I just want to thank, before I forget to mention, I just thank you for coming tonight and for your service, of course. Typically, this would be something that would go through our committees, but as a courtesy, we just wanted to make sure, since you were coming, let you do this so that we can.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to,
No, you're not. No, we're good.
don't overstep
It's
or anything
not,
like
it's
that.
not a big crowded night, so we're fine,
Yeah,
but I
I'm
just.
sorry, so I just it was just something I wanted to
Yeah, we're gonna put thing on okay as well. Maybe not. And here, there we go.
Mr. Brady, once I have this up, you can explain to the council what they're looking at.
absolutely.
Somebody already did it. If you can say it. Okay.
Unfortunately, I guess when you pulled it up on your computer, there's different settings you can do to do layouts. So it's not really showing the whole, the red lines should be bold. You should be able to see them. I have them like on a handout, if you'd like to see it.
The other one has the red lines.
It's the configuration, see, I guess when it defaulted to your computer, it does a different overlay. That's the 3D tree version. So in the other view, you could typically zoom in and clearly see those lines. You could zoom down, and this is Google Earth, you could get down to like 100 feet over them. I mean, if anyone's interested, I have like what it actually would look like on paper. I mean, you can see roughly, it doesn't show exactly what it is, but as you can see, it's all contained to the left side of the park, the southern portion. Everything is very within 100 to 200 feet of accessibility to the road. So that it's going, but at the same point too, it's not going to impede any foot traffic. It wouldn't do anything. Nothing crosses over that border line that walk around. In fact, part of the work is already done. Holes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 18 are actually in the campground. And holes 1, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 3, 4, and 5 would virtually need nothing done to them whatsoever. Because of the existing campground, it's already open. The one thing you can notice too, and again, you can't really see from this view, you can't even tell where the campground is if you look at an aerial photo.
Right.
You know, and that's exactly how it would remain to look, because you're simply just getting rid of the small brush that's in the way. And part of the game is playing with those obstacles in the way. And the great thing about it is, I mean, it's a game for people that are from 4 to 80 years old. Now, I play at the Stockton course on Sundays, and we have people that are playing in their 60s and 70s, or young as teenagers to come out and play. If anything, it would.
There's the one, is that yellow line
That's the existing.
that's the existing path?
That's the existing path that goes around the perimeter of the floor right now. So everything, holes 1 through 9 is to the left of it. That whole area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 18 is actually contained in the existing defunct campground that's not being utilized right now. The other holes, I mean, it would take a little more trailblazing, but thanks to some of the youth around here, they've actually trampled through. There's a lot of little trails back there, so part of the work is already done. But I just wanted to just give a little bit of an overview. I mean, I would love to, if anyone was interested, to come out and kind of see what it looks like. If anyone's interested, I do have handouts of like what these existing courses that are here look like, the actual courses.
Okay.
And you can see that that rings up.
Sure, thank you.
How long is the hole on average?
It's just like golf. They can range for this every I guess you can't pull it up in the detail that I did, but the holes range from 250 to almost 800 feet on this, and those aren't exact, you know. I mean, there's proposed with approximate lengths that I put like 4 par 5s. It's just like golf in that sense, but instead of yards and new feet, you can't throw a disc the way you can hit a ball. So it's also a lot smaller. And again, I mean, you can't throw a golf course. You're talking that's clear, that's completely clear cut. Everything has to go on. You're laying down per facade.
Your disc might be.
That's absolutely not what this game's about. So I just know that, I mean, just in my veterans, I mean, that's their favorite day of the week when we go out, you know, and I know that there's tons of people in the park that are doing it as well. One of the upsides of it as well is, I mean, it can actually generate money in actuality. If we created this course, you could hold tournaments, things like that. Stafford Woods, out of Stafford, currently the #1 course in the state. They hold at least 2, like 1 tier down from the pro level tournaments that they generate anywhere between $45,000 to $80,000 per event. They also have food trucks, things like that, and they don't have the room and space outside that park that Northfield could provide. So it could actually be an income generating thing as well. Is there any questions?
I have a question. Do you own the company that builds these?
You're looking at the company that builds.
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of veterans and volunteers. And that's typically how most of these courses maintain. The Stockton course is maintained by the Players Group Association that does it. They're out there in the fall removing the leaves. The only thing that this would require beyond me, which I mean I could do, which you don't want me to do, was there are larger dead trees back there that would have to come down for safety purposes. I mean, I know just walking around the perimeter, I know recently some trees have been taken down. Because I walk past them pretty quickly. So there's some pretty big ones back there. But aside from that, I mean, all the maintenance, everything out there can be done, maintained by the people that play it. Most of these groups, they do it all. you know, we're able to maintain these things. I couldn't see it being any additional burden or cost to the city whatsoever. For funding of this, I mean, I plan to grant a donation to do it. The estimation for this sheet without the tree cutting, because I don't know, and I can't even see all the trees that would have to be done until we get back there, but I mean, my full estimations to make this a very, very good course would be about $12,000 to $14,000, depending on things that we want to utilize. There's different, you know, types of things you can do, but to make it a really, really good course, that's about the cost of it.
And the ones that you said need a lot of work, are there a lot of trees that need to come out besides dead ones, or is it?
No, not a lot of trees, it's a lot of brush.
Just brush?
There's a lot of brush. I mean, now if you consider, I mean, when I say brush, I mean tiny saplings, little 2
Yeah.
or 3 foot, 3-inch trees that, you know, I could take down with a handsaw. There's honestly not that much. If you look at some of the pictures inside there,
Yes.
you can see some of these courses. The minute you take that brush away, just how truthfully open
Mhm.
that stuff gets, much like the campground area. So, you know, there's still all the large existing trees. They've just moved the brush and small trees and things like that.
So all you need is I guess the hole, whatever you call it, what
The
the basket.
basket. Yeah, baskets, and then typically
And
you see there's
tea
a
pad?
tea pad that they utilize, and there's a bunch of different things for cost purposes that we can do.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, the design of it as well, I also want to keep it close, and what this will also do is going from hole to hole, there will be pathways from hole to hole. And all that does is just
Yeah.
create a safer, nice walking area for people as well. When, that, it's not gonna be in operation 24 hours a day.
And the more that it's used,
And I know I
the
see,
more
I
it
mean,
tramples down.
some of these other courses we go to stock, people are out there, you know, with their pets and dogs, I don't know if they're supposed to. But people are constantly out there just walking around, so it just created more of a trail system for people to walk in.
Do people normally bring their own frisbees?
Yes, yeah, I mean, when I say inexpensive sport, you can get started for about $25, and that's literally all you need. You know, newer people will have 3 of these, you know, plastic frisbees, and that's what they'll start with. So it's a very inexpensive thing. There's also programs that exist, and I'm just waiting for them to happen, for Seaview or Northfield Elementary Schools to do mass donations where they if they want to get more people involved in the sport, so they can actually get a lot of stuff for these kids. So.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks so
much for your
much.
time. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Need that back? or-
Oh, no, I got a whole bunch. Maybe
Okay, great.
one, overview, a little more what it's about.
Thank you. If there's anyone in Zoom, please indicate if you'd like to speak.
No, man.
Okay, seeing no one, public session is now closed. I have a motion to adjourn. Motion,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll start the regular meeting momentarily. Here. Go ahead. Okay.
Hello again. This is the regular meeting of Northfield City Council, September 26th of 2023. This meeting was properly advertised in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, and in the Press of Atlantic City on January 7th of this year. May I have a flag salute led by Mayor Chow, please?
Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Ladies and gentlemen, just recently, several days ago, one of our longtime volunteer firemen, Mr. Jake Eustace Eggy, passed away. Jake and his family were instrumental in much of the service with our volunteer fire company here in Northfield. He was truly, and as well as his family, were truly dedicated to the service and protection for the city of Northfield. And I know that on behalf of the city council, we all send our condolences to his family. He is survived by 2 boys and 1 daughter. Thank you. Please be seated.
Roll call, Mrs. Bucci?
Here.
Mrs. Carfano?
Here.
Mr. Deweese?
Here.
Mr. Leeds?
Here.
Mr. Notaro?
Here.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Palestina?
Here.
Mr. Chow?
Here.
Mr. President?
Thank you. May I have a motion to? Oh, yeah, motion for approval of minutes, please.
I'd like to make the necessary motion for approval of the minutes from September 12th, 2023. The minutes have been posted in the clerk's office and are available for distribution.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Council President and council members. Ladies and gentlemen, I received a letter from Dennis Levinson, our county executive, stating in effect that he has received on behalf of City Council a request for a traffic signal warrant study based on concerns about motor vehicle accidents at the intersections of Zion Road and Oak Avenue. As we had noted in a letter to him, that there have been over 35 accidents at the intersection since December 2017, 5 of which involved industries. So the Atlantic County is now prepared to accommodate our request for a study to determine if measures, in addition to the existing flashing overhead traffic signal, may be warranted. Once we've completed the study, we will advise you of the results and discuss how to proceed from here. Sincerely, Dennis Levinson, County Executive. Also, he says, if there's anything more that you need, please be free to contact his office. I'm very happy to report we have 2 new businesses opening here in Northfield, and I did send the dates to everyone, and everyone is invited. I know one of the dates and times is around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I know many of us will work, but I will be there to represent the municipality. I want to remind everyone that our trunk and treat will be October the 7th at Birch Grove Park. We're doing it on another off day so that it doesn't interfere with other municipalities in their event. I would also like to thank the police department for their work in the distribution of the McDonald's free Sunday ice cream as an incentive or something to show appreciation that students or children are wearing their bike helmets. This has been an ongoing situation that we've had, or I should say, event that we've held every year with the corporation of our local McDonald's. So I want to thank McDonald's, and I want to thank our police department for their diligence in this work. I received a letter from the county's court administration. They are asking us, as well as other municipalities, for a meeting to speak about how we can or how they can reduce the budget. As you know, the budget that we had received this year was a little bit too much for us to really swallow. One of the things that they are looking at, just for your information, is looking for an outside vendor to provide law enforcement services at the county court, as opposed to the county sheriff's office. So I just wanted to bring you up to date. I know we're already set to go with Hamilton, but I just wanted to bring you up to date. I feel personally that it's kind of late that they start now. I mean, if they haven't heard the problems and the voices of the budget, but I have to commend them that at least they're starting something. I don't know if this is going to be something that's going to be a workable situation there. So that I believe is all that I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, what's the date of that meeting?
I will get it for you. I don't have my calendar with me.
Okay, at this time, we'll open the meeting to the public. One from the public? No, we have no report tonight. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, we ask that you please step forward and state your name for the record and your town of residence. And if there's anyone in Zoom, raise your Zoom hand. That's all for you.
No.
Seeing no one, public session is now closed.
Council President, just to answer Councilman Leeds, excuse me, October the 2nd at 4 p.m. at the Canale Center to review with the towns on the budget. Okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Is there any items on the resolutions that anyone would like pulled from the consent agenda? Okay, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by council will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. All items requiring expenditure are supported by a certificate of availability of funds. May I have a motion to vote by consent agenda?
I can make a motion to adopt resolutions 179/2023 through 184/2023 by consent agenda.
Second. All in favor? Aye. May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda for resolutions 179/2023 through 184/2023.
Second. And roll call, please.
Mrs. Bucci?
Yes.
Mrs. Carfano?
Yes.
Mr. Deweese?
Yes.
Mr. Leeds?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for the adoption of the consent agenda.
May I motion for payment of bills?
I can make that, sorry, motion to pay the building number $538,106.
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Bucci?
Yes.
Mrs. Carfano?
Yes.
Mr. Deweese?
Yes.
Mr. Leeds?
Yes.
Mr. Notaro?
Yes.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Palestina?
Yes.
Motion carries for payment of bills.
Meeting notices.
Our next city council work session will be held on October 10th at 6 p.m. and our regular session will immediately follow.
Mark.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
That's for record, Tom.
Nah, the record was 29 minutes.
29.
9.
That was a special meeting.